A wealthy young man in a flashy sports car refuses to help an elderly woman stranded in the pouring rain. Mocking her, he speeds away without a second thought. But just minutes later, his life takes a shocking turn. He gets into a terrible accident, trapped in a car that could explode at any moment. As bystanders watch without lifting a finger, someone unexpected steps in to save him, the very person he had just humiliated. How will he react? And what lesson will he learn? The rain poured relentlessly, drenching the city in darkness. Thunder cracked through the sky, casting eerie shadows on the wet pavement. People scrambled for shelter as cars splashed through flooded streets. In the midst of the storm, Ryan Parker, a rich young man, sped down the road in his bright red Ferrari. Inside, deafening EDM music pulsed through the speakers. To Ryan, life was a game. He had it all, and he believed he was above everyone else. Little did he know, this night would change him forever. As he stopped at a red light, something caught his eye, a frail old woman standing on the sidewalk, shivering in the downpour. Her clothes were soaked, clinging to her thin frame. Slowly, she stepped closer and knocked gently on his window with trembling hands. Ryan lowered it slightly, just enough to hear her soft, quivering voice. "Son, could you give me a ride just down the street? The rain is too heavy, and I can't walk much further." Ryan stared at her in disgust. Holding back a chuckle, he scoffed, "This is a Ferrari, not a taxi. Find someone else, lady." The old woman's eyes filled with sadness. She wasn't asking for money or pity, just a little kindness. But Ryan simply smirked, rolled up his window, and revved his engine. The light turned green. Without a second glance, he sped off, leaving her alone in the freezing rain. Minutes later, Ryan's arrogance turned to sheer terror. Speeding down the slick roads, he took a sharp turn, too fast. The tires lost traction. In an instant, his Ferrari spun out of control, skidding across the street before slamming into a power pole with a deafening crash. Glass shattered. The airbags deployed. Smoke billowed from under the hood. Ryan was trapped. His hands trembled as he tried to open the door, but it was jammed. The sharp scent of gasoline filled the air, and sparks flickered from the engine. It could catch fire at any second. Panic surged through him. People gathered at a distance, murmuring but doing nothing. No one wanted to risk their own safety. He was going to die. Until, through the haze of rain and smoke, a familiar figure emerged. The old woman. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. With surprising strength, she yanked at the door handle, struggling against its stubborn lock. Ryan, once so sure of his superiority, was now helpless in the hands of the very person he had mocked. "Hold on, son. I'll get you out," she cried, determination in her voice. She grabbed a rock and smashed the window with all her might, shattering the glass. Ignoring the cuts on her hands, she reached in and pulled Ryan out just as flames erupted under the hood. Together, they stumbled onto the sidewalk. Seconds later, boom! The Ferrari exploded into a ball of fire. Ryan lay on the pavement, gasping for air, watching his prized car burn. His heart pounded as he turned to the old woman, his voice barely a whisper. Why did you save me?" She gave him a tired smile. "Because I know what it feels like to be left behind when you need help the most." Tears welled up in Ryan's eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt ashamed, not because he lost his car, but because of how cruelly he had treated someone who had just saved his life. When the ambulance arrived, Ryan still couldn't find the right words. He looked at the woman, guilt weighing heavily on him. I'm sorry," he choked out. She gently patted his shoulder. "Don't apologize to me, son. Just remember, next time, help someone in need, even if they have nothing to offer you in return." That night, Ryan's entire worldview shattered. He once believed that wealth and status were everything. But the person who saved him had nothing but a kind heart. And that was more valuable than all the money in the world. From that moment on, Ryan swore he would never judge a person by their appearance again.